6 months ago, I was terrified that AI would make my design degree worthless. And today, I'm using AI to build my own app. So today, I want to take you on a journey, how I went from fear to realizing it's not as scary as I thought. I want to talk a bit more about why the fear, I think, was there in the first place. And just about how, what exactly I did and what tools I tried and what kind of helped me to overcome that anxiety and overwhelm. So let's dive into that. The story starts in 2025, so early last year. I was working for a startup which was based in another city. So I was working remotely and I was going most of the days to a co-working space where there was other freelancers or other people working remotely like me. A lot of them were developers, and most of the lunches that we would have together, they would be about AI. They would be about how AI is changing everything, about the impact it's having on their software development jobs and how they are utilizing it. And honestly, hearing about it every day, it was quite overwhelming. I just started feeling quite anxious about what does this all mean. In the spring, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I basically walked onto an event because in the co-working space there was a lot of events. And that event, the guy was just doing a demo of typing into chatbot and building an app. I don't know, I think it was Replit or Lovable, I don't remember. Doesn't matter really. It was for the first time I saw that and I was quite shocked. It seemed pretty cool, but it really scared the out of me. I was thinking, does it mean that the 5 years of my university degrees from bachelor and master are going to waste? How is gonna the future look like? I started imagining these scenarios that, maybe there will be just 20% of the designers needed to kind of do the final touches, and maybe 80% of us will be gone. And I don't know if that will actually be the reality, but this was all the scenarios I was imagining. And that was just for me very scary because I didn't use AI apart from, of course, ChatGPT, the chat. To add on top of this pressure cooker, I like to listen to Lenny's podcast every now and then. And that time, and today as well, most of the episodes were about AI, especially the ones which were popular popping up. So, it was really a bubble of that I was surrounding with, everyone talking about AI. The reason why I also felt really overwhelmed is that I had a lot of going on in my personal life. I was planning our wedding. We just moved to a new city. So I was trying to figure out ways around the city, making friends again. So it was really difficult time, and this kind of AI overwhelm really didn't help in that situation. And because I really had so much going on, I really didn't have that much energy and just mental space left to look into this. But around that time I did try one tool though, which was Lovable, because I just wanted to see how it is, and I had this idea for a flight tracking app in the back of my mind for already some time, and I wanted to see would this be possible. And the static page that it generated, it looked quite fine, it looked good, just with few text prompts, but there was of course a limit for free account. So I created multiple accounts. I think free accounts, tried creating different things, and it was fine, but I couldn't make it fully functional with integrating API or something. So the credits ran out quite quickly, even with the free accounts. And since I was not able to achieve as much in those, in this time, I basically didn't continue, to be very honest. But I was still curious about what's going on. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos about on these tools, how guides. But honestly, it was pretty frustrating because so many of them, they were super clickbaity and really like adding to the hype. You know, they were claiming you can make so much money by building your own app, blah, blah, blah. It almost felt like just another get-rich scheme, which, yeah, I just felt like, what is this? But then later, I don't remember, was it like summer or autumn, my friend showed me how he, like another designer, showed me how he was doing a prototype in these tools, like something that would not be possible in Figma because it was like highly interactive, many different states, like quite complex interactions. And how with these tools, it was quite like, he showed me like he tried different tools and like in all of them, he created this version of this prototype. And I was quite impressed. I was like, wow, this is actually a really good use case and it's really useful. The prototype itself wasn't like too complex. It had many expandable menus and sections with interactive data, but it would take too many states in Figma to like really design in a way which looked real and like you could imagine actually what's going on. And it took him just a few hours to create with these tools. And I think maybe that moment was a little bit of a turning point for me. It started to feel less scary because I could see like a practical use case and I saw somebody actually using it in like not hyped way, you know, but just my friend showing me. And I guess my reflection here was that like, you know what, it's always so easy to be scared of the unknown. Like whether as a kid, you know, you're scared of the forest because it's dark, I mean at night, or you know, some years ago I was scared of a medical procedure because it's just like you don't know what to expect. So if you knew exactly how everything would go, it's not that scary, right? But because it's the unknown, like all that, you're starting imagining scenarios, I think all of that can be scary. But I think that's why this moment was the turning point, because it started becoming real for me. Like I started understanding of like what are the limitations of the AI, like what it can actually do. I think it became less of an unknown and more like something I can actually a bit understand. And that made it a lot less scary. So then a few weeks later, actually, some friends approached me like if I can make a prototype for their startup that they are having. And it was quite complex, like prototype they wanted to make with like many different states and like interactive menus. Again, something that would be very difficult in Figma. So you know what, I thought I can give it a try. And since it was for like a real project, I felt okay spending some money on it, which I didn't feel before. It was too risky for me. Or like too uncertain I would get any value out of it. But since it was for a real project, I thought like, okay, let's give it a try. So I paid 1 month of Replit because that was the tool I saw my friend kind of praise the most. And yeah, I was quite impressed, honestly. Like I was able to create this interactive menu quite easily. And that encouraged me further. And now I started thinking, you know what, maybe I could still make that app that I wanted to make. So I did 1 more month of Replit afterwards and I started trying the app. And guess what? This time I was able to integrate the API and I was able to, actually make it work. But there was one big issue. The credits, they were running out really, really fast. So I actually ended up spending like another extra $20 on the credits because, yeah, I was just like hooked building my app. After that, I was like, okay, this is not sustainable. I already spent like $40 on, and you know, it was far from being finished. Like I saw so much, I would need to do so much more to make it like fully functional. All the stuff that I actually wanted to make functional and not even talking about polishing it, that would take so much more. So I started thinking, okay, this is not sustainable. And then I saw on YouTube again another guy talking about, you know, how like Replit and Lovable, they are really like overcharging in a way a lot because they charge a lot more per tokens used or like what you get out of it. They charge a lot more than tools like Cursor. And I was like, okay, maybe this could be the solution for me, right? Because it was so expensive for me I was not ready to spend so much money on Replit to build my app, because it was just like fun side project. But I thought, okay, let's maybe try that Cursor, because I saw it like a year ago, I think, before that. It was very technical. Like, I was intimidated by it. Like, you know, like code editor, very, you need to know code kind of situation. But I was like, okay, let's give it a try again. And I think this time they maybe changed the design a bit. And once I actually start trying it, it turned out it's not that difficult. And yeah, soon I was, you know, trying things and it was actually working, and it didn't look that intimidating again, because like I tried it and I knew what it is and it was not that scary anymore. The same freaking thing. But again, there was the same limitation, right? The tokens. Like, even though I was able to do a lot more, still, I think after 1 or 2 months, I realized that like, hey, I still want, like, there was a monthly limit, right? The same issue, monthly limit. You burn it in like, I don't know, a few days maybe. And then that's it. You have to either pay more for credits or wait for the next month. So I started looking around, and I had heard of Claude Code before in videos, and also from the other developers at the co-working space where I worked. So I thought, you know what, let's give it a try. And I was intimidated at first because, by default it runs from the terminal. But then I found out that actually you can also run it from Cursor, basically as an extension of the Cursor app, or like a plugin. And since I was already familiar with Cursor and like how everything works, it didn't seem that big of a change. It was just like another chat window instead of the Cursor chat window, or agent window as they call it. And the big difference here was that Cursor doesn't have a monthly limit. It does have a limit, but that limit is 5 hours. So after every 5 hours it resets. And then on top of that, it has the weekly limit. So you can only use so much in a week. But if you use the full limit, guess what? In less than a week, you can again have like a new limit, so you can start again. So with that, I was able to build or do so much more than with a Cursor. And it was a bit technical first. I was a bit intimidated, but since it was in Cursor, it was fine. And yeah, I just continued building my app with it and never looked back, basically. Building app alone, it seemed impossible a year ago or 1.5 years ago. But here I am, building an app. So I will talk about that in another future video. But yeah, like, my reflection was just that the scary part wasn't actually the AI. In reality, it was not the AI. It was more like the unknown and like not knowing what exactly it is and not trying it and playing with it and knowing its limitations and really like knowing it. But then once I spent some real hours with these tools, you know, whether it's Claude Code, Cursor, whatever, even Lovable or Replit for that, trying, like, understanding what it can do, it felt a bit less like magic and just more like a different way of working. So yeah, in the next videos, I want to showcase how I actually built the app that I'm building, or like where I am, and document the process of building it. And also, actually, I want to show some stuff how I used Claude Code also for some non-technical projects, like it helped me a lot with the whole, like with applying for jobs. So I want to document how I used it to customize CVs and cover letters and actually do so much more. And why it's like way more powerful to use it in that way than just a regular AI chat. So if you are interested in that, then stay tuned. But other than that, this is my journey. This was my journey with AI, from overwhelmed basically to not being that scared of it anymore. And would be interesting to hear like your journey and your thoughts on this topic. So please write it down below in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.